Hello, everyone. We're back again. We have a guest.
Caleb's out. So
Caleb's not here. We've replaced him.
with my ex-brother-in-law.
It's important.
Ex-brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Tim.
Tim.
What's your last name, Tim?
You don't want to know.
Good. No, yeah. We don't need to tell
It's
everybody.
better
that
not
stuff.
to have that. Yeah.
That's right. You were in the military.
I was.
Tell us about that.
Go, Tim.
Here, I thought I liked this, Daniel.
What branch of the military were you in?
I was in the Marine Corps. I went in the Marine Corps in 2007. Yeah.
So you bleed red, white, and blue then?
No, I sure don't.
How long were you in?
I was in for 4 years. I did one tour in Iraq and then did a, I'm not really sure what you call it. I guess military training exercises in the Philippines, and went to Japan for a while. Went to Australia for a while. Was on a boat,
Nice.
Navy boat for a little bit, which was literally hell. You're just trapped in a sardine can for 3.5 months.
That sounds horrible.
That moves and rocks and sways with the tide.
Get seasick?
No, it's not so much seasick. It's more of just a pain in the ass. Like, you can't have anything on the table because it won't stay there,
Yeah.
and you'll wake up like getting tossed against a wall because you have those the bunks in a ship.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of like coffin bunks, so they're only 18 inches tall and they're 2.5 feet wide. Well, on one side you have a wall, the other side is just a drop off to the floor because they're 5 tall. If you're on any of them other than the bottom,
Which one were you on?
number 3,
Number 3.
which is about chest height to any of us,
Yeah.
probably.
How many times do you fall?
Twice. Yeah, it was a good time.
Wish you were
good
still in?
Man, I don't know. There's a lot of times, yeah, I wish I had stayed in. But I think that's more for financial security and
All the bad decisions you've made since then?
that's right, yeah.
Probably would've kept
Really,
you from some of those.
since that day that I got out, my life's really gone to shit. And maybe it's just the hopeful side of me that thinks if I'd have stayed in, none of these other things would have happened. So that's not to say that that's true at all, but I mean, that would have been 13 years ago, so I'd be a mere 6.5 years away from
Retirement.
a full
right?
retirement.
Yeah.
And a lot of things I'm sure would have happened, more tours and deployments and training exercises, whatever it is, but there was a lot of fun. There was a lot of really great times. I met a lot of great people. There's a lot of really bad times.
Yeah.
And that's, inevitably that's why everybody gets out, because it's not so much about the bulk of the time, but when it comes time to decide whether to re-enlist or to get out, what's your experience going on at that current time frame? You know what I mean? So if you happen to be one of the people that is having a great time and maybe has has good leadership at the time, that isn't messing with you all the time, or maybe you got a new promotion, things are looking up. If that's about the time where you have to decide whether to stay in or get out, a lot of people stay in.
Stay, yeah.
Right? Because it's your current situation that you base all those
Right.
decisions on.
So what do you mean leadership messing with you?
Various things, like working 12-hour days and not getting literally anything accomplished. And the only reason you're there for 12 hours is because they just don't want to let you go home.
Why?
Because they're egomaniacs, Jason. And all of them have this self-perceived authority over everybody, which is not only self-perceived. So, like the NCOs, the non-commissioned officers, which would be like your sergeants or corporals, they have authority over everybody below them, right? So they'll say, or actually, we're going to go the different route. So the captain, the CEO, the commanding officer of like our battery or company or whatever, says, we're going to let the boys go home. Our day is going to end at say 5:30. It'll be 17:30 military time. So the person below him, being the XO, he sends out messages to the next chain or the next rung in the ladder and says, hey, y'all, CEO says we're going to release everybody at 1700. Well, see, that's different than 1730. But the XO wants to make sure that everybody is there when the CO is expecting to come out and talk to us and let us go, right? So he's trying to be proactive and say, just to make sure in case anything else happens, instead of 5:30, we're going to do 5 o'clock. And then the first sergeant, right, gets that word, sends out word to the next rung down and says, hey, boys, we're going to gather at 16:30, which is 4:30. The same attempt, the same proactive attempt, right?
So you're just staring at
that
people
makes
for 2 hours?
that makes its way down the hierarchy, and before you know it, we're gathering up for formation at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, the CO's mind never changed. He's still maintaining 5:30. So you basically stand around and do nothing for 2.5 hours waiting for a formation that was never changed. We don't know that because we were told to be in formation at 3 o'clock or 3:30, whatever it was. Because all these different ladders, or all the different rungs in the ladder, want to make sure that their people are where they need to be. Because if they're not, obviously, then they're the one that takes the flak. Right. Yeah. So everybody's trying to be proactive, but they don't know that the proactivity has already taken place. You see? Yeah. And then everybody starts hating each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mix between that kind of stuff and the I guess the other thing is how they judge people, how they judge what a good Marine is or what a good soldier is a lot of times not based on performance or knowledge of his job or whatever it is, but it's based on things like run time.
Yeah.
So for like physical fitness tests, right? For Marines, a perfect score on a run, a 3-mile run is 18 minutes. Typically, the closer you are to that, the better Marine you are as a whole. So it's very one-dimensional. Does that make sense? Like a lot of people that get promoted early are just good runners. They might suck at their job.
Sounds like a bad system.
Amen. It's really not a great setup that they have going on there. But that's how and it just doesn't make any sense. And so much of it's very political in that sense because you always have like teachers' pets and favorites and things like that. And many times those are based on, if you're a favorite, it's probably because you run fast. Yeah. Because you make the platoon look good because you have a high PT score.
Did you run
Well, that's
fast?
nice. You can't hit a target at 300 yards to save your ass. But you can run fast.
Did you run fast?
I surely didn't. I've got legs like redwood trees.
You don't look like you're built for speed.
No. Oddly enough, not built for endurance either.
Built for drinking.
That's right. And sitting.
Could you shoot?
Yeah, I can shoot. I qualified expert all 4 years.
Yeah.
Which isn't a huge accomplishment like a lot of people. I'm definitely not special in that regard, but when I was there, not to make it sound like I was there in Nam or anything, but things have certainly changed over the last 10 years as far as qualifications with the rifles and the kind of sights they use. When I was there, I was doing iron sights, and when you're trying to line up a peg and a pea hole to shoot a target at 500 yards, Kentucky windage comes into play a lot.
Yeah.
You're aiming 15, 20 yards to the right and just hoping like hell that bullet curves.
Right.
And it's just kind of part of it, But now, and I had it easier than people generations before me. So the people now that are there, they have it a bit easier than I did because they're using ACOG sights, which are, they're only, I don't know what they are, 4 to 6 magnification or whatever it is. Yeah. But at 500 yards, they've come in pretty handy.
Yeah. I guess technology gets better, equipment gets better. And
yeah, absolutely. And that's just the natural course of it, Everybody has it better than Civil War day.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Is that why women are able to do it now?
Jason?
Yeah.
Women aren't able.
I don't know. I
women are able. Listen, and I'm not trying to start a war between the genders.
We are. So you can do whatever you want to. But wasn't there a movie with what's her name in it?
The girl from Kristen Stewart.
G.I. Jane.
That's
I thought that was about her being a Marine, right?
I can't remember. I don't know that I've ever seen that. That's the one where she shaves her head. Sigourney Weaver. Is that who that was?
I think so. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I watched that movie, and that's certainly a over amplified version of what women quote can be, just like the men. No, honey, I'm sorry, you're not. And they still maintain they've welcomed. I don't know. They've opened up what they call combat MOSs. So what you would typically think of when you think of the Army or the Marine Corps going into places like Iraq or Afghanistan, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those combat designated specialties women have been opened up to, and honestly, the vast majority of them have failed horribly, and it's just because of their body makeup, their natural. They're just naturally weaker. They are, and they have.
Unfortunately, biology gets in the way, right?
Biology is real. Yeah, it's a real burden.
Yeah.
And then they have a couple things that are biologically on schedule that men don't have to deal with. That now commands are having to take into consideration when they go on training periods. And
you got some cramps, do you?
Yeah, that's right. And now we're having to find separate bathrooms, separate sleeping quarters. When an artillery unit goes out to 29 Palms, California, which is a giant training facility, when they go out there, you're not sleeping in dorms. You're not in a hotel or anything else. You're sleeping on the dirt. Yeah. And from what I understand, there's a lot of problems going on because back at the barracks, the women are all separated. Mm-hmm. Well, when you're out in the field, you don't have an option. So now there's this co-ed entity. Well, you're also talking about 19-year-old testosterone-filled men that are a little trigger happy in more ways than one. And some of these women aren't necessarily the most modest, one might say. So I think they're encountering a lot of problems with that too.
Right.
It's giant filled with problems, and there's
orgies.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Just
wrestle
around, see which hole we can get that bad boy in.
But you didn't have that problem, right?
No, I didn't, because we didn't have any freaking women.
Just those big male showers you took.
That's right. That's right. Many elephant trunk floating around that bad boy. Well, I've seen more male appendage than I'd ever care to talk about. It's a real issue.
You dream about it sometimes.
No, I don't know what a dream is.
Turn the shower on and flash it back.
The only flashbacks he has.
Yeah.
Looking straight up. No, it's I don't know. I think it's a strange dynamic that they're dealing with now that I didn't have to deal with. It was much, it's a lot simpler, because there's no benefit. I can't imagine a benefit that comes with having women opened up into combat MOSs, other than just they quote deserve to have the same chances as men. Yeah. Well, it's not about what you deserve; it's about what the military readiness of the unit.
Right.
And you hinder that. Every one of the women hinder that an unbelievable amount. If nothing else, just the distraction to the 19-year-old testosterone-filled little studs walking around there.
Yeah.
How difficult was the training, whatever it was, and how long did it last?
Like boot camp?
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever so was boot camp different than the Marine training? Did you have to do both, or was it just...
Well, that is the Marine training. So, Army has its own boot camp, Navy has its own boot camp, the Marine Corps has its own boot camp. Marine Corps' boot camp is 13 weeks, and it's physically and emotionally hell. More so emotionally or mentally is the breakdown. Physically, and everybody's worried about the physical aspect of it. If you talk to people that are going in or discussing things with a recruiter, their biggest concern is, I don't know if I can physically handle it. Well, cupcake, that's far from your biggest concern. When you're screamed at and told how much of a piece of crap you are, and you're literally like the lowest piece of scum on the planet.
Yeah.
For hours on end, days on end, weeks on end, it takes a toll. And then it's more of the they compile that with the physical strain. Yeah. So when you're going through something physical, typically you rely on your mental stability or your emotional stability to get you through that, to push through that, right? Mm-hmm. So when they say push through the pain, that's all mental. Well, when you're going through mental pain, emotional pain, and physical pain, then you start to question who you are, question how strong you are, if you can do this anymore, or whatever the case is. And the only bit of encouragement that I could ever tell anybody was the very little bit that I got, was that it doesn't matter if you think you can handle it or not. You're here. You can't leave. You're gonna do it. I promise.
So
there's no not doing it is not an option.
So they don't, because I read that. I was telling you about that book I was reading, that David Goggins book.
Yeah.
And like I know in Navy SEAL training, like that only like 1% get through. So they have a bell they ring if they quit or whatever, and then but with this you didn't have the option to quit it.
Right. Well, keep in mind, I mean, those people are already in the military.
Okay,
and this,
so that's a
and
special
this is a
distinction.
Yeah, and this is a voluntary. People
They were
go
already
out
in the
for this.
Navy.
Yeah,
I got you.
so they're trying to become elite or whatever the case is, and this is the course or the the BUDS training. That's the course that you have to go through to be named elite by the powers that be or whatever the case is. So, and that is specifically, that training is specifically designed to weed out the weak, right? So, unlike Marine Corps boot camp or Navy boot camp, any of them, they don't really weed out anything. If you go,
you got to finish.
yeah, I mean, you're going to finish.
What if you just refuse, or you dishonorably discharged?
Man, I don't really know because that doesn't happen.
Nobody fails boot camp.
No, unless the only way to fail boot camp would be to get injured, and even then, you're just kind of sent over to the broke dick platoon, and you recover, you heal, and then you pick up. So if you get injured on week 9, right? Every week there's a new company picking up. So at any given time, there's some company out there that's in week 9, every transition or whatever, every cycle rather. So you go and you recover with the med station or whatever the case is. You follow their orders for your rehabilitation, and then now you belong to this company, and you pick up right where you left off. And hopefully your whatever injury it wasn't severe enough to keep you back anymore.
Gotcha.
And now, if that is something like recurring, I know that people have gotten like stress fractures and stuff like that just refuse to heal for. I didn't know anybody, but I've heard of people sitting in that medical rehabilitation program for up to a year, and they're, I think sometimes like things like that will ultimately get them a
medical discharge.
Well, it doesn't really. Yeah, it's kind of like a medical discharge, but the difference is most medical discharges come with benefits. So like these people, they won't be able to go to like the VA, or they won't get educational benefits.
Yeah, because they didn't make it through.
Right. I mean, there's so much service time that you have to complete to get like, say, a VA home loan or GI Bill benefits or something like that. So yeah, it's kind of like a medical discharge, but it's also like we're discharging you. You have to wait X amount of weeks or months, and then you can re-enlist. Now the problem with that is if you re-enlist, then you start from zero again.
Gotcha.
So
if you're on week 9, you start back over.
You're back at
week
zero
1.
because you've effectively been. I mean, your whole training evolution has been wiped out.
Right.
Right. So, and for people that have a desire for it or really want to do it, I mean, in my mind, it's. I know I've already made it through 8 weeks of it. I know I can do it. I mean, I want to do some parts again, but I think when you look back at that kind of training, you realize that most of it wasn't physical. It was all mental, and part of the mental torment is that you don't know what's coming next. There's not like a schedule of classes or like tomorrow we're doing this. Oh no. You just wake up and you get yelled at where to go, what to wear, how to be there, whatever you're going to do.
It's a form of mind control.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and without a doubt.
Yeah.
The entire military, and that's way beyond boot camp too.
Yeah.
And I think it only gets worse and more severe and more controlling the further you get away from boot camp, I think.
So guys that have been in there 30 years, they're just fucked.
They're droids. Yeah. But they also have a really nice retirement package and medical plan, and there's people retiring at the age of 40 that may go on to do something else, may not, may decide to go get educated for free.
Yeah.
Not only free education, but paid. You get paid to go to school.
Right.
On top of retirement, on top of whatever
disability
they get, or whatever happens.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a few that maintain, their individualism, but the vast majority are just
creating
drones.
Something.
Yeah. It's like that movie Universal Soldier. I don't know if you ever saw that, but that's just a mass production of like these soldier men
Yeah.
You know, you think this way, you do this way, you act this way all the time, and that's ultimately what they're creating. And which is part of why they gauge how good of a Marine or how well you're doing on things like run times. And, I knew a guy that this dude couldn't have been more than 5'6", and he had massive, he was just a big guy. He wasn't necessarily fat, but his pelvis was huge. He just had a huge frame to him, and he could not run to save his life. A failing time for a 3-mile run is 28 minutes. He was coming in, and there might have been some number shuffling. He just happened to come in at 27:55 for 4 years in a row. So he missed out on a lot of opportunities to get promoted, which correlate to pay.
And it's dumb anyway, because you promote high enough, physical has nothing to do with it.
You still have to maintain a standard.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying.
But as far as your promotions, not at all. And that's a funny thing too. Like that guy, his name is Ivan, and Ivan was probably one of the best artillery Marines that you'd ever see. He knew his job really well. He knew how to calculate. He knew how to do all the different positions on a piece of artillery equipment and drive or pull or whatever you needed him to do. He was always the go-to, and he was kind of a reference point for everybody else if they were unsure. And he was teaching classes to the underclassmen that would eventually pass him up in rank because he'd never get promoted because of his damn runtime. And it was things like that made me and a lot of other people just, we're diving out.
Sick of it, yeah.
Yeah, and there's times I wish I stayed in, but like I said, it's more for financial stability and career stability, if that's a thing, to avoid the uncertainty.
Yeah. Did St. Clair ever say why he didn't? Because I know, when he was in high school, wasn't his dream,
Yeah, for a long time, he really wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, and then
I think he just woke up to not wanting to be a pawn for the government.
Because I feel like if I had
I don't mean any offense by that.
No, it's fine.
I mean offense by all the stuff I said.
It wouldn't matter if you did. Honestly, pretty used to it by now.
But with him, if I had to personally say that I know somebody that could make it through that, It'd be that guy. Yeah. And I don't know what he did or what he saw that made him.
I mean, you know who he is now. He just isn't gonna.
Yeah.
He's not gonna do that for other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah. I don't know.
He
could have done it though. I mean, he could have done I think he definitely has the willpower to make it through stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. But I think so.
Yeah.
Are you talking about SEAL training specifically?
That's where you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, he went. I mean, you've played Call of Duty with him before. Let me give you
He's an animated character,
Let
isn't
me
he?
give you a story about him. So, John having all the money.
Yeah,
one day
absolutely. Amen to that.
He used to have an in-ground pool at his house with a diving board on it. And I think you were there when this happened.
Probably.
And John told him, St. Clair, listen, you go up there, you do the biggest belly flop you can do, just painful. I'll give you $50 or whatever it is. And, so he goes up there and does it. And, I mean, he just comes down. Pop! Everybody hears it.
Wasn't this in the middle of winter?
No, that's a different one.
Okay.
So then he gets out of the pool and he starts storming back to the diving board. And John's like, St. Clair, what are you doing? You just did it. And he goes, no, I said I was going to do my best one. I can do it better. So he went up there and did a second one.
This type of person he is.
Yeah. And then, and the winter one you're talking about, he jumped into this freezing pool. John was going to give him another $50 or whatever it was. And, he jumps in. It's freezing. He's just sitting there dog paddling or whatever, treading water. And John's like, St. Clair, what are you doing? Get out. It's freezing. He goes, no, anybody can jump in. I'm going to stay in.
Yep. Man, I remember he worked at the YMCA.
Yeah.
And I went there to work out one day. And he was out in the outdoor pool. This was the middle of winter. There was ice over the outdoor pool. Yeah. And he's out there with a pole breaking the ice. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, just going to go for a swim out here for a minute. He just breaks a hole in the ice and jumps
Lunatic.
Yeah. Dude, listen, it was funny. I used to...
Stuff's good for you, though.
Cold water?
Yep.
Yeah. Whenever we were at ATC or whatever. This was like right after I moved here, and I'd go work out sometimes at lunch. Mm-hmm. And he would always be in there around that time too. And I kind of knew him, but like enough to say what's up, but not really talk to him. But it was just so funny watching him storm around that gym. Like you could just, I mean, he was just in a zone, just from piece to piece. And then like my favorite thing was watching when somebody would like be in his way.
I was going to ask that question.
And then
if he
just
was
angrily just walk over to something else and like. Because it would be
jackholes on the calf machine.
Yeah, well, that's what. Well, it was fun. It was always the best when it was some like 220-pound woman that's like doing like 10 pounds while she looks at her phone.
Yeah,
you just literally see his eyes bleed.
Yeah. He's an awesome person.
Yeah. Yep.
From what I hear.
Yeah. Well, you've convinced me I'm going to join the military.
Are
now.
you? Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad. Yeah. You might have to get a haircut. I don't know what your stance is on that, but
they won't let me just pull it up.
Probably not.
Damn.
No, yeah,
maybe not.
Never mind.
I mean, you could certainly fight that on an equality standpoint.
Right.
I mean, the women don't have to shave their damn head.
Mm-hmm. So did you, like, when you were doing it, there weren't women in the Marines?
Oh, there were women in the Marines. There just weren't women in what's denoted as combat MOSs. So an MOS is military occupational specialty. It's a long version for job.
So they didn't have to do the training you did?
No, because
they weren't doing the job you were doing.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's so. As a general overall rule, you've got two types of Marines, and that's like infantry and then everybody else. Mm. And I say that because the infantry are the only ones that go through what's called the School of Infantry, and that's where those guys go to become, quote, I don't know, weapons experts or urban warfare school and stuff like that. So they're much more. That school is more designed specifically to create warfighters, like on the ground, doing patrol, stuff like that. And that's a long evolution. I'm not sure. Boot camp is 13 weeks. I think SOI is 6 weeks. So everybody else that's not infantry, which is, I mean, literally everybody else, whether you're artillery, which is what I was, or if you're an admin clerk or a supply girl or whatever the case is, you go to what it's called Marine Combat Training, which is just a condensed version. It's a condensed version of School of Infantry. It gives you enough to where you can be effective, more so just not a liability if you're found in the battlefield somewhere.
Gotcha.
And that's where they get that term that every Marine is a rifleman, because every Marine, man or female, infantry or not, you're always supposed to be somewhat efficient with a firearm and have some kind of understanding of like battlefield conduct or whatever it is. It's only 3 weeks long. They hit on some of the bigger topics. You don't do near the amount of physical leg work or whatever that the infantrymen will do. And then from there, the people that go to School of Infantry, they just go straight to their unit because that is their MOS school, right? That's their specialty school. Everybody else will leave MCT, Marine Combat Training, and go to the school specifically for their job. Like mine was artillery, so I left Marine Combat Training and then went to artillery school in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is a barren wasteland of shit. It's awful. It's near Lawton, Oklahoma, which is a forgotten, just tumbleweed of a town. Strictly, I mean, it rests on the military base. That's the only form of income or foot traffic or anything, even tourism, because you have people coming down to visit people in the military or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason that town exists, and it was literally built to be like an outpost for the U.S. Army back in like when they were fighting Indians. It's literally where this place came from.
Wow.
So, and then other people will go to, if you're a supply bitch, then you would go to supply bitch school. Or if you're admin, then you go to admin school.
That's the official name?
That's right. Supply bitch. That's right. Okay. And then from there, after you finish your specialty school, then you go to the fleet or your unit or whatever the case is. And for me, I ended up being stationed in Hawaii for 3 years, which was pretty nice.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it was real hard.
Yeah.
I'm real hardcore, you know.
Rough.
And that's where your first arrest happened, right?
That's right.
That's right.
All right.
Not first, but most important.
Let's go into that.
That wasn't. I don't know if he wants to tell that story.
I'll tell it.
Tell it.
I'll tell it.
Tell it.
There's 25 people out there that'll enjoy this.
That's right.
I hope so. Well, out of 25, I'm hoping at least 15 get a good chuckle.
Mm-hmm. I know I did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'll be so animated. So I turned, like most people, we all drank before we were 21, right?
Sure.
But 21 is really kind of like the passage and to be able to go and do it in public, or go into these establishments and have a drink or whatever. So being in the Marine Corps, you have people from different ages, or that are different ages, that go in, and I seem to kind of gravitate towards some of the older guys. Well, Friday night, Saturday night would come, they would all go to the bar. I couldn't go, obviously, so I kind of stayed back and did my own thing, or hung out with other people and just drank in the barracks or wherever the hell we could. My 21st birthday came in 2009. No, it's not right. I don't know what year it was. Yeah, it's not important. But anyway, we were in a training evolution on the Big Island of Hawaii on my birthday. So obviously we couldn't go out. We're in the middle of the field somewhere on a mountain, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa.
Did you explain to your commanding officer that it was your birthday and you
I did not.
be made to do that?
No, I didn't. I don't think that would have played out.
He would have understood.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
Like,
I doubt it.
Tim, you know what?
Yeah, surely he would have sent me down to a local tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got you a gift.
Yeah. You think Clint Eastwood and Heartbreak Ridge was sending people down there to the tavern on their 21st? I don't think so, buddy. So we got back to back to Hawaii, Oahu, somewhere late October. My birthday was in the beginning of October. So the first weekend that was available just happened to be Halloween weekend. So that Friday, I was talking to all the guys, and they're like, yeah, absolutely, you're 21. Let's go out, let's have a good time, whatever it was. In my mind, I heard, let's go out, and you should try to keep up with us. And that was a vital mistake.
You should have.
I gave it the old college try, Jace, I promise you. So it's Halloween in Waikiki. A couple of the guys are dressed up like, I don't know, Dukes of Hazzard Hoosiers or whatever it was. And the rest of us didn't dress up because we're not idiots. And but we start off our adventure at some bar. I don't know what the name of the first one was, but I was hanging out with a guy named Shiloh, and he's 3-4 years older than me, so he's got plenty of practice at this, right? Well, it wasn't until later on I started to figure out that I think Shiloh was fucking with me a little bit, because our first bar, within the first 45 minutes, I know we killed 6 Jaeger bombs. And I mean, they were like in a row.
Yep.
You like empty one and the next one was getting poured, right? Yeah. That didn't go well.
I'm surprised you made it.
I didn't, Jason. Wait till the end of the story. So we leave that place. We go to a place called Moose McGillicuddy's, which is kind of like an upstairs bar. I'm not sure what it's upstairs from, but we go in there, and within a couple minutes, there's another Jaeger bomb, and then a shot that a buddy of mine, Adrian, who's kind of the same age group as Shiloh, 25, 26, whatever it was. He had a thing for 4 Horsemen, which is like Jim, Jack, Evan Williams, and some other character on the front of a bottle, and all that's poured into like a rock glass, like kind of like a double shot type of thing, but it's all these different hellistic bourbons or whiskeys or whatever it is.
Gotcha.
And then you just pour it down your gullet and hope for the best. Let me tell you something, boys. The best don't happen, old Timbo. Nary a time has that been a thing.
That was really just kind of a foreshadowing for the rest of your life.
That's right, yeah. If I had to mark one spot where everything went to shit, it's probably this night.
Yep.
Yeah. So evidently I started getting rowdy, and it's about that 4 Horsemen when things get real fuzzy for me. But evidently I started kind of getting rowdy, and I don't know I guess you can call it an altercation kind of broke out, and everybody involved got kicked out of the bar. Well, most of my friends weren't involved. It was just me and a buddy of mine, I think it was Jacob or maybe Kyle. We were involved, and so they escorted us out. Well, the problem is, I don't know how things were when you guys were 21 or whatever the case was, but like when you started a tab, it wasn't just they went and swiped it and they kept it logged in the computer. Like they would actually keep your credit card. And then when you said I need to close out, then they would swipe your whole bill, right?
Gotcha.
Well, when you get kicked out, you don't have much time to go get your credit card.
Right.
So I'm trying to like barter with the bouncer, this 800-pound Samoan with jowls that look like a Buick, and like getting frustrated at him because I need to go inside and get my credit card. You know, it's important. And even being a drunk mess, I knew.
I need that card.
That's right. So,
well, you didn't tell. What was the altercation?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was Halloween night. I do remember there was a girl in there dressed like a provocative version of like Robin, like Batman and Robin. So she was like a female kind of slut.
Okay.
You know, one might say. And I'm sure I went up to her and said something like, "Hey, and she was probably with a guy or something. I don't know what it was. I really don't.
So you were at the epicenter of the problem.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably. Some might even say the cause.
The cause. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That, as I do.
All right, back to the 800-pound Samoan.
Yeah. Well, so a couple of my friends, they found out that we got kicked out, and I'm still down there trying to barter with this big fellow. And they come down, and I told Shiloh and Adrian, it's like, hey, man, can you go up there and get my credit card and whatever? And the bouncer said, no, only the person whose name is on the credit card can close it out. And at that point, Adrian and Shiloh step up, and they're saying, so you would rather deny us from going to get his credit card than get paid for the rounds that he did purchase, because evidently nobody but him can close out the credit card when you won't let him go in. And so eventually, after some more talk, I'm sure, I think I was stumbling around somewhere, because they separated me from it and they wanted to handle it, which was probably the better move. And so the bouncer let one of them go up there and get my credit card. Everything's okay. Now we're trying to go to a different bar, which is kind of on the other side of the Waikiki Strip. Excuse me. And so you kind of have to go like down a block, over a block, and then there's the Strip, which is much like the Vegas Strip. I mean, honestly, it's modeled the same way. But then you had to cross the street, which is a 4-lane road. 4-lane with a turn, so it's 5 lanes or whatever. So we're all kind of meandering down, and at no one's surprise, I'm picking up the tail end of this little pony. And so we get around, we go down a block, over a block, and we get to the road, and you can see this other bar across the street. I don't remember what the name of it was, but we're waiting for traffic to clear so that we can cross. And there's really no crosswalks like through there. You kind of just do it when there's a red light. And I vaguely remember standing there, and I smoked at the time, so I was lighting a cigarette, and I vaguely remember, like, as I'm lighting it, everybody else starts walking away. Well, something in my brain told my legs not to move. So I'm, like, expecting myself to be with them, but my body won't physically do it. Does that make sense?
No, but I understand.
Okay, well...
Never been in that situation.
Listen, somebody out there gets it.
Hopefully one of these 15
somebody gets me. You're going to have to broaden that audience out a little more than 15. But, so I see the whole group go, and I'm standing there on the curb like a dolt. And I can remember my friend Thomas, he turned around and looked at me and kind of like a shoulder shrug or like, what the hell are you doing type of thing. Because he knows I'm trashed, right?
Yeah.
And I think in his mind was something like, you know, Tim is beyond the point of like individual accountability. Somebody needs to be there with him. And amen for that man. So he starts kind of like making his way, trying to get across the street. So in the meantime, I'm like swaying back and forth. I can barely stand in one spot. You know, the world's moving and I'm not, the kind of thing, you know. And then when I'm moving, the world's not. It's a real issue. So I'm standing there, and this woman comes up to me, and I can barely, like, I can remember her being there, but I couldn't point her out in the crowd right now. And she grabs my arm and she says, "Hey, are you okay? Like, do you need help? Do you need, like, there's something going on?" And I like to take credit for this, you know, morality wise. I screamed at her, said, "You're not my wife. Get away from me. Don't you touch me." And I kind of shrugged off, you know, and she goes, "I'm just trying to help. I said,
she should have gotten away from you. At this point,
I mean,
if she
this is on her, brother.
It's her fault.
Yeah. Amen to that. You know, what do you tell you brothers and sisters? If you keep egging it on and keep poking that bear.
Yeah.
So So she kind of leaves me alone for a minute. And Thomas, the guy who turned around and noticed that I was alone, he had kind of made his way down the block to where there was a crosswalk at a light. I don't know. It was just a light. It wasn't really a crosswalk. And he's trying to get back over to me. I can kind of see him. And not too long goes by, and I, like, stumble into this retaining wall, like, the walls of bricks with the plants on top or whatever. Right. I, like, fall into this thing. Recover, as I do, and make my way back to my post on the curb. And and the same woman comes up and says, "Hey, do you need help? Why don't you come over here and sit down?" And again, this woman is still not my wife, right? So I scream at her, "You're not my wife. Don't touch me." And she's
touching you.
And she is touching me. Yeah, she's got a hold of my left bicep, kind of in a tugging fashion, saying, "Come sit down, because you're going to fall in the middle of the street and get run over by a FedEx truck." So, I guess you can give her that much.
Well, what I can give her is assault.
That's what I gave her, Jason.
Well, no, she's committing assault at this point. She's touching you.
And
you have clearly stated
that she's not my wife.
Don't touch me.
That's right.
You're not my wife.
Only my wife's to touch me.
And she continues to touch you.
That's right.
They should have arrested her.
Amen.
All right.
So we'll file a complaint. So the woman is kind of tugging on my left bicep there, and she's like, "Come sit down." I said, "You're not my wife. Don't touch me." And in like a listen, I'm gonna act a little heroic here. In like a Conor McGregor type fashion, I tighten up my right fist and I just let her eat, right? And I punch this woman straight in the sternum, like solar plex area sternum. And this poor little girl, like, I don't want to say flies, but she certainly fell like horizontally,
kind of stuff.
Close, yeah. You're like Hayukin type thing.
Yeah.
And she lands flat on her ass. Keep in mind the context of the situation. It's Halloween night.
Sounds like self-defense to me.
We're on,
not how the cops saw it.
That's not how the cops saw it. Yeah, so we're in Waikiki Strip. It's on Halloween night. There's a cop every 15 feet. I mean, they're just bouncing off each other like the Ghost and Pac-Man, right? So it's not like nobody saw this shit. I mean, we're right in front of two different bars. We're in front of a restaurant and what's called an ABC store, right? So the cops come and grab me up, snatch me up, and then they put me in handcuffs and make me go sit crisscross applesauce in the corner of this building. And I mean, it was right after the woman hit the ground and was screaming and crying. Yeah, she was so damn dramatic. It was ridiculous. I mean, come on. You've never been hit?
And also,
the way you're acting, I bet your ass has been hit a time or two.
Yeah,
and one might even say you liked it.
You started this story off, and I was thinking, maybe he was in the wrong, but now this is like your Me Too moment.
Yeah, we could start this is like a revolution.
Yes.
Shouldn't have touched you. We the people, Jason.
I really think that woman shouldn't have touched you.
I mean,
not the second time.
Sure. I'll give her the first.
Yeah, but you did give her the first.
I did.
Yeah.
And I did.
But it was clear the second time she was trying to sexually assault you.
She was clearly a danger to my safety.
So you did what any rational person would do and defended yourself.
Right.
So did you get bailed out that night, or?
Well, that's also interesting. So I'm sitting over there crisscross applesauce, and my buddy Thomas arrives, and he kind of saw.
Thomas has been taking a long time to get back to you.
Man, I'm telling you. Keep in mind, this all happened within like a 6-minute period. Like, I'm telling me telling the story's taking too much damn time. Really, that's where we're trying to get to. So Thomas gets back, and he's trying to talk to the cops, like, because he's kind of watched all this from across the street. Well, she's there with a couple of her friends, because they travel in packs, demonic vagina-bearing animals. So her friends are all freaking out because in their side of the story is that this drunk asshole just came out of nowhere and punched this woman in the gut.
Yeah.
Thomas was trying to be like, look, he was trying to get away. I was coming back to get him. He's really drunk. Can we just let this go or whatever? And evidently it kind of came down to the cop was telling Thomas, well, it really depends on if she wants to press charges. She did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She felt it necessary to press charges.
Yeah, that's right. Well, evidently Daddy, because turns out she's a student at the University of Hawaii. And evidently Daddy was a lawyer in the States somewhere. I don't know where that is. And, so she calls Pappy, as we've come to know it. And he tells her, yeah, you need to press charges, so on and so forth, whatever. So I'm sitting over there, and to me, it had to be 4 hours. Real time, 10 minutes. But I'm sitting over there, Indian style in the corner, in handcuffs. I can hear Thomas talking, whatever. So eventually a car pulls up, cop car pulls up, they put me in the back. On the way down the strip, and the police station is probably, it can't be a mile down the road, but on Waikiki Strip, especially on a busy night, it'll take you 30 minutes to get there.
Yeah. When
I remember about halfway down the road, I say, sir, I really have to go to the bathroom. And he's like, well, you're going to have to hold it, this isn't on him. Like, it's not like he was treating me cruelly by not letting me go potty. I just had to go pee, and I was really drunk. And I was like, no, sir, I need to go now. And he's like, well, we're not stopping. Like, I'm not letting you run into the McDonald's and take a pee. I said, all right, brother. So I filled his back seat up with piss. Pissed all over myself. And then we get to the police station. My first wife, Tiffany, kind of met us there not long after I got there, and she had talked to the person at the front desk and explained to them who I was or whatever, and they told her, look, it'll probably be $250 to bail him out tonight, but we can't do that until he sobers up. Like, we're not going to let him go while he's so drunk and belligerent, honestly. Yeah. So, I don't know what Tiffany did, but I know what I did. And what I did was completely refuse to sign my name. I refused to give fingerprints. I refused to give them my identification. I refused everything. Put your thumb here. Won't do it. Can't make me. Not today, Ranger Rick. So, they wrestle my thumb onto this paper and all this shit. I'm still covered in piss, right?
And they're probably pissed.
Oh, I bet they had a great night. Yeah. Hopefully they're telling the story on some low-rate podcast somewhere else.
That's right.
And that's pretty much where everything goes black for me. And could have been like a Rodney King type thing. I don't remember. Who's to say they didn't hit me?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Next week,
here's what I
track down the public records, get one of the cops on here.
That's right.
And hear from their side.
there's
I think you could probably just go with mine. Let's try to keep this in house, boys. What I do remember is waking up on a concrete bench and in the cell looking at a local Hawaiian, which are much akin to just really tan crackheads. And so I'm horizontal on this concrete bench, and I'm freezing my ass off because it's it sucks the heat right out of you. And I wake up, and within probably from me to Daniel, which is 3 feet.
Yeah. There's
a man, pants at his ankles, taking a shit on a stainless steel toilet, and he's looking at me, and he ain't got but 3 teeth in his head. I said, "Oh fuck, something happened." Because it wasn't until later on where all these puzzle pieces kind of came together.
Yeah.
This story is basically you just kind of putting together different separate memories, and then what Thomas told me, what happened in the courts, so her testimony, things like that. So what ended up happening was that $250 bail that they told my wife about turned into $1,700. Mm-hmm.
All because you wouldn't.
All because I wouldn't give the man my fingerprints and pissed on myself. And who knows really what else happened that night. I certainly don't. So they had to, she called all my friends because at that time you could only take out $500 from an ATM at a time, like in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
And, 500 and 1,700 are different numbers.
Mm.
So we had to get, 4 other people of my friends to commit to taking out $400 or $500 and bringing it down to bail me out, and then I was able to pay them back like next week or whatever it was. And the rest of that story is pretty uneventful. I mean, went to court a couple times, got a lawyer. Yeah. Overall, I was about $6,000 in the hole.
You've spent a good amount of time in the courtroom.
A bit more than more than you. Everything's relative.
Yeah,
less than Manson.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I was not arrested once, but cited by a safety officer.
A safety officer?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you punch a woman?
No, I can't follow that story with this one.
Then I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, that's a hard one to follow. I don't have anything that good.
Man,
it
was good. Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
You ever been arrested?
Never been arrested. No.
Never?
No.
Man. What have you been doing with your life? No kids?
Just
never been arrested?
Just being a good kid, man.
Just doing my thing.
Going to church, paying his taxes.
That's right.
Taxes. Doing what they tell me.
That's right.
Yeah.
You bitch about it a lot, but
I do bitch about it. But
Well, you don't like it, but you do it.
I don't want to go to jail.
It's the mark of a real man there. Nobody wants to do these things, boy. We just do them. Yeah, that's I mean, that's certainly my best story. I hope I did it justice.
It was good, man.
There's nobody else to say that I didn't, so.
yeah, that's true.
And the best thing about that story is, like, there's no part of that was exaggerated, and it's so easy to tell that story like almost verbatim every time because like you don't have to exaggerate the damn thing.
Yep. No.
You punched a woman?
You sternum punched a female who was trying to help you. It's phenomenal.
Oh, we spun that around quick, didn't we, boys? That was self-defense 10 minutes ago.
That's still my position.
Is it?
I mean, I'd say technically, yes.
Yeah, technically, yes. I think the biggest downfall that I hit was that I was so intoxicated. So, like, I didn't even testify because most of what happened, like, I genuinely could not remember. And I told my lawyer that. Like, he's like, so walk me through what happened.
You're going
to have to wait, brother, because I don't know.
Yeah. Let's hear what she has to say.
Yeah, I mean, and
clearly more reliable than I am.
Yeah, so it wasn't great, but I wasn't convicted. I took a it wasn't on plea bargain, but a non-contested charge. So, and I don't know if you know what that means. Non-contested is basically essentially saying, yes, this thing happened. Yes, I did it, but I'm not pleading guilty to the charges that are being presented. Right. Yeah. So it's an acknowledgement that something happened. I was part of it. I'm certainly not guilty, or I'm not guilty.
Right. But you weren't in your right mindset type. You know,
right. And yeah. And the one court appearance, like she didn't even show up for the one court date. So that kind of put a damper on things. And then they postponed it or whatever it was. And my attorney had a field day on that one because, if I didn't show up that day, they'd have thrown a hammer at me.
Yeah.
Right. But evidently she's free to do whatever the hell she wants. So, relatively speaking, minus the $6,000 I lost, I came out of that pretty unscathed because I didn't. And in the Marine Corps, in the military, if you get in trouble out in town,
yeah, that's what I was going to ask too. Like, did you get in trouble with?
No, yeah, I mean, typically that would be a thing. You'd get an NJP or most severely court-martial, which that has happened. Mm-hmm. I had some really good leadership at the time that kind of took care of me, and they knew kind of. I had just been promoted to corporal, and that was a meritorious thing. So I had some people kind of really take up for me and defend me based on my character that I'd shown them.
So did you get promoted to corporal? You were protecting us against the dangerous Hawaiians, or how'd that happen?
Getting promoted to corporal?
Mm-hmm.
No, I had range high shooter at the. I mean, that's what happened.
So you kind of. It wasn't running fast, but it was something like that.
No. There was nary a run fast in my military career. Like I said, the windows from 18 minutes is a perfect score. Anything beyond 28 minutes is failure, right? I was right in there about that 25 and a half. The last eighth of the people come waltzing in.
You and the Hobbit right behind you.
Yeah, the Hobbit was a little bit behind.
Ivan.
Yeah.
Come on, Ivan.
Yeah.
We're the last two out here. Gotta get across that line.
Listen to me, you're not wrong. I can punch like hell, but don't ask me to run nowhere. Yeah, it was a good time. Came out with a lot of good stories. I mean, the story's good. What happened wasn't, but it's important.
You made it through it, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It was all right.
I'm gonna go make a drink real quick. You cool with that?
Yeah, man. Back. Just go do whatever you want.
I just do whatever I want on this thing.
You're a straight white male. You do whatever the hell you want.
You goddamn right.
Bring Tim's bottle in here. He needs to freshen up a little bit.
I don't know. I've been talking a lot. I'm kind of cotton mouth right now.
Well,
If you do that, Daniel, don't forget the Mountain Dew.
Okay.
Thanks.
Don't forget the Mountain Dew. Oh, man.
Yeah. Was military ever an option for you, Jason?
No.
Like, was that even a thought?
What's ironic is, so, like, when I was in school, I hated everyone and everything. And, no, I would have never went to the military after that because I couldn't stand all the ROTC kids.
Yeah.
And Ray wanting to be a freaking Marine.
Ray Post?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll put that name out there. Don't give a damn.
There's nothing wrong with him. He didn't do anything. I just hated that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, he really drank the Kool-Aid, though, too.
Man, he was.
There was definitely
all about it.
There was a group. I mean, I was pretty serious about, by my sophomore year of high school, I knew pretty well what I was going to do after high school.
Yeah.
So, trying real hard in math class or excelling. I was in. What do you call that? Accelerated math classes until sophomore year, and I just stopped. I really stopped trying because there's no point. I knew what I was going to do at that point. I was under the assumption that I was going to join the military and be in there for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I don't need no damn college or anything else. I'll learn how to do some shit in there.
Yeah, no,
but there was that group that certainly drank the Kool-Aid and I mean, they were all, their entire life revolved around.
I know.
Like wearing a uniform.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even he only served 4 years and got out because he couldn't fucking stand it. Yeah. Yeah, he lived in Alaska for a number of years after he got out. He just recently moved back to Missouri.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. His sister's a state highway patrol woman, lady, whatever the hell that is.
But no, I wanted to be in a band. I accomplished that. Didn't accomplish much else.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I was in a band. You can't take that away from me.
Yeah, we're running pretty fast and loose with that term, aren't we?
I have music. It's at the first of this podcast, sir.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Have you never partaken of the Cries Hannah?
I've not. No, because nobody has a copy of the damn thing. Other than you.
It's on Spotify, sir.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Thanks, buddy. Man, you're all right.
That's my buddy right there.
That was mighty white of you. That's a funny story, too. Listen, Listen, I didn't know that was a racist thing until like 2 years ago, and I said it at work in front of my boss. Yeah, in front of my boss did something.
What did you think it was?
Man, I don't know. I don't even know that I realized that you were literally saying that's mighty white of you, and I don't know what else I might have thought it meant, like wide. I don't know. I really don't know. And I said that one day.
Do you say other shit you don't know what it means all the time?
Have we met? Yeah, all the time. I mean, I say dumb shit literally.
Well, no.
Dysentery of the mouth.
I'm not saying you don't say dumb stuff. I'm just saying, like, I assumed you knew what the phrases you were saying meant.
Well, I'll tell you what. That moment really made me more cognizant of some of the other things that I say. Yeah. I don't know what we were doing, but my boss did something. He's a great guy. His name's Jason Lenz. Works for Purina up there in Missouri. He did something. He got me something, or maybe whatever it was. And I just said, just like, that's mighty white of you. And he goes, Tim, you can't say that. And I looked at him like puppy-like innocence. Like, say what? What'd I say?
Just dripping in your white privilege.
That's right. Fresh out of that
What's
pool.
Wrong with that, sir?
I don't see anything wrong with it. And then he explained it to me, which didn't take long, and I felt like a jackass. I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that anymore. And he said, no. And I'll tell you what, I've said it in mixed company many a time, and I never thought anything of it. Ever. Ever.
I wonder if the people that weren't white thought anything of it.
Might explain my lack of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. I don't know. But keep in mind, I live in Franklin County, Missouri. Not a whole lot of diversity up there, fellas.
I don't know.
Don't you? You do.
There were non-white people at my school.
How many? Could you count them on one hand? Because I know I can. And it was the same damn school, Jason. 2 of the years were the same time.
I can't believe your dumbass was walking around there at the same time.
You guys went to school together?
Yeah.
Dopey, big-eared idiots.
Yeah, no.
I knew his sister, so his sister was
He's dated both of my sisters.
Oh, fuck, here we go.
Married one of them.
How'd that go?
Daniel, that's one we won't be touching on. Not yet, anyway. This bottle of Woodford's hardly at the label.
It's just so weird to me. I was walking around, pissed off at school.
My big-eared ass is just flopping all about the halls.
Wearing my dashboard confessional shirt, just mad at everybody. He's, saluting people and walking in his
getting ready.
Freaking army uniform all around.
He's not wrong.
Getting ready to join.
Getting ready to join, yeah.
ROTC or something like that, right?
Yeah, I was in ROTC in high school, or high school ed. And then that's... Man, I don't even know that I knew that the Marine Corps was a thing until I joined ROTC. And I only did that based on my friend in 8th grade, before you go into high school. His name was Christos, and his brother was a Marine. And
I worked with his mom at Holiday Inn.
His mom. His mom was a teacher at the school.
I don't think so.
I am positive of it.
You're remembering it wrong.
No, I'm not, friend. His mom was a Spanish teacher at the high school.
Okay.
Well, also worked at the Holiday Inn.
I disagree.
May have. Yeah, that's a day-night thing.
It was a day-night thing.
Who knows?
She might have.
Yeah, so, and he was, I think it was like, picking our electives for our freshman year. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do.
It's so funny that
Christos, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to ROTC. Sounds good to me.
Yep.
You're such an idiot.
Yeah,
I would have never
I'm a
thought.
follower.
I would have thought, sounds like a lot of running to me.
Perfect for the military.
Yeah.
Give him that.
Yeah, because I definitely would have been like, that's a lot of, nah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was.
I think I'm going to take personal finance. How's that sound? I'm going to learn how to balance a checkbook.
Yeah, I did. Jason, I didn't care about it.
I didn't care either. That's why I took personal finance. I knew that was easier than ROTC.
But it wasn't, though. ROTC was a guaranteed A or B. Literally, if you showed up and you put a uniform on, you got an A or a B.
Well, if you could add or subtract, you got an A or B in personal finance.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But that ate up so much time, because there was ROTC class, and then there was ROTC drill team. Well, there's 2 electives right there, brother, and those are both year-long electives. So you don't have to worry about picking another one or deciding. Well, I never really wanted. I didn't do any electives I didn't want to do because they were all bottled up with ROTC or, I had to take mythology class or something to eat up some of the last ones. But my home room, I guess you would consider it, was the ROTC room. Had ROTC class, had drill team class, and then a class my sophomore year, which was also all year long, which was called Advanced Leadership or something like that. And that was a class that was open to everybody in the school. You didn't have to be in ROTC to do that, but it was held in the ROTC room, instructed by the ROTC instructor. That was guaranteed A right there, boys.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I was playing the short game here, Jason. As I do. Tend not to have a whole lot of foresight.
No.
Enough not to hire an idiot to be a business partner, though.
Yes. Can't. Was Sarah Branson in your class?
Yeah.
That's the class you were in?
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Sure enough. Had a huge crush on her in 7th grade, say 8th grade.
Did you?
Huge crush, yeah. Well, I mean, but everybody did, really.
Did they?
Yeah.
I was in her class, so I didn't know.
Her and there's a couple more. Kayla Collette, and she's kind of a shorter girl. Jared,
I remember her brother was a fucking lunatic.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly was.
He scared the shit out of me. That kid would just go there. I watched that man crush a full can of soda on his head. He just took it and just smashed it into his head until he was bleeding, and it was going everywhere. And I was like, that guy, this isn't.
That's not somebody I want to be.
Yeah, this isn't prison, buddy. You ain't got to prove anything to anybody. I got you.
Man, don't ask him that.
Am I wrong about this? But did not one of the people you went to high school with get eaten by alligators?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who?
I don't. Have I not told you this story?
No.
All right.
I'm a little upset about it.
Yeah, I can't believe this. Did you know? You probably didn't know them. I don't think they had siblings, but they were twins, and they were in my grade. They were Tommy and Brian Woodward.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Not really ringing a bell.
They would have been maybe one of the extras on one of those videos we watched today. Like, just redneck rap videos. They'd have been in the back.
Hillbilly.
Hair down to their ass. Rebel flags everywhere. That's the kind of people. Anyway.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I feel like there might be. So
Fair enough.
They were just, I don't know. I wasn't a fan, and neither was a friend of mine that went to that school. And so for years after we went to school, it would be like we would use Tommy's name as a joke. Like, he was an idiot and redneck, so we would be just like,
Stop being a Tommy or something?
Yeah, well, it would be just like, like you're doing something stupid, like you're acting like Tommy Woodward, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, Brian was probably close to as dumb, but Tommy stuck out. So we
the pinnacle.
Yeah. So I'm scrolling the Drudge Report like I do, and this was like 6 years ago. I mean, it was not that long ago, and I was looking, and it says, guy eaten by alligators after screaming, fuck the alligators. And I was like, well, I'm going to click on that. Bam! Tommy Woodward's face. So I started reading this thing. I'm losing my mind, right? Because I can't immediately get a hold of the friend that I'm calling him like 7 times, texting him like, listen, you gotta call me. You gotta call me. Like, so I'm looking at this article, man, and he apparently had moved down to Texas, as people that love rebel flags or want to do. Sure. Yeah. And he was eating at this establishment that was on a river, and there were signs everywhere. Don't feed the alligators, don't swim, all this stuff. And he got a little drunk. It was the middle of the day. And he decided to stand up on the banister of this deck and start yelling that he was going to jump into the river from the banister. Everyone at the restaurant begged him not to. They were like, listen, dude, there are alligators down there. Those signs mean something. This isn't just
like real ones, not like Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
You're not going to come back.
Right. Yeah, they're going to kill you.
Retry.
Yeah. So they're like, dude, listen, alligators. He screams, fuck the alligators. He jumps off. As he's hitting the water, dies.
Jesus.
Unbelievable.
Like, it's so funny, but it's so fucked, dude.
Well, yeah. You don't
snatched him up like a ball in a mitt, didn't he?
How many people right before they die say, fuck the thing that kills them? Yeah.
Wow.
No, Tommy. In fact, the alligator fucked you.
Yeah.
The guy's a legend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're still talking about him.
Yep.
Give him that.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
He will be remembered.
Yeah.
Never forget.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Idiots piss me off. Which is ironic, really.
Yeah. Well, with your track record.
With being who I am. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I certainly have never done such a thing. I'm still sitting here.
Yeah. You think you were drunk enough that night in Hawaii to do something like that?
Oh, yeah.
So it's just a geography problem then.
Yeah. Yeah. If I'd have been stationed in Louisiana, we'd have been fucked.
You wouldn't be sitting here today.
No, sir.
Just me and Daniel talking about the corona.
Yep.
I'd have never been your brother-in-law. I mean, a lot of really positives would have come out of it. Yeah, I'm not proud of a lot of things, but they make good stories, and I don't know.
You don't seem ashamed of a lot of things either.
That's not true.
Can't change the past.
That's not true. Yeah, I mean, it's not a matter of being ashamed of something, or I'm certainly not proud of it, but I'm also not. And I've told you this before, and this goes for a lot of different aspects of my life. I'm not proud of anything. Not necessarily. I don't know if you call it ashamed of it, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
I can tell the stories. I can talk about. I can talk about punching a woman in Hawaii. I can talk about going to court. I can talk about failed marriages. Yeah, because it doesn't matter. I don't care. Like, who gives a shit? Who's going to judge me? Daniel? Wrong. Yeah, I don't have a lot of friends, so I don't really what the hell I got to lose? The few friends I do have seem to be pretty forgiving on my past.
Is that like, by few you mean me?
You and John, yeah. I got one in Missouri. You know, Josh. He's all right, but he's extremely passive and doesn't give a damn about anything. I mean, you want to see somebody that sits?
He sits.
38, no kids, never been married. He's had one long-term relationship. He plays a lot of Call of Duty. I'm sure he watches a lot of porn. You know, because I can't remember last time. I've known the man for 7 years, and he hasn't been in a relationship in the time I've known him. I think he dated one girl, like, real early on to that.
Not a big go-getter.
No. Big. Just not a big go-getter. He's a big fella. He got thyroid issues. But yeah, I just don't care, man. I mean, it just
is what it is.
Yeah. And if some of my failures, my tragedies can make somebody laugh, and I'm more than happy to tell them, because they make me laugh. There's no reason to keep it bottled up. I just don't. I don't care. Yeah. And I also don't give two flying shits what anybody thinks about me. You know, if you don't want to be my friend or whatever the case is, or if my story about how I attacked a woman is
gonna cause you balls.
Fuck, what do you want me to do?
Right. My slightly racist phrases that I just learned to make out.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep you away, then so be it.
Yeah, that's right. Don't currently have a woman.
Yeah.
Don't have any black friends. I mean, we may be dialing into the foundation of some of these problems, fellas.
You'd stop hitting them and
saying
racist slurs.
That's right.
You might have both.
Yeah, I don't have any Jewish friends either. I don't remember being anti-Semitic.
It's okay.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're take it or leave it kind of thing.
For sure.
You love Ben Shapiro.
I don't love Ben Shapiro. I get
oh my god
entertainment from Ben Shapiro.
Do you?
Yes, Jason.
I hate him.
Well, you hate a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of people. It's amazing that you have the friends that you do.
I know, man.
It's a wonder that keeps me awake at night.
Yeah.
How does I'm
Jason have more friends than me?
Amen. I'm no saint, but I mean, damn it.
How many friends do you have, Jason?
I don't know. You.
Is
Caleb,
it more than 3?
Josh, St. Clair, John, Tim. Am I running into a hard wall there?
O'Donnell. You and Donald friends?
I mean, I don't mind Donald. I'd have him on the podcast.
He could rap for you.
I'd love
He's
it.
a rapper.
Who's this Donald?
He's a battle rapper.
He is a rapper from way back.
We're going to watch one.
We're talking about 8 Mile.
Okay.
Yeah.
He does battle raps. I didn't know there's this thing called No Coast Raps. Is that what it is?
Shit.
Okay.
He's awful.
How do you know him?
He went to school with me.
They were best friends.
We used to go to Six Flags.
All right.
And he most recently dated his oldest sister.
I pretty much just hang out with people that dated my sister.
your sisters. Yeah. That's how you.
Yeah, that's how I get my friends.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is an endless
Eric
supply.
Bieber?
Yeah.
In fact, he was before that.
Eric Bieber was before what?
Before he knew me before my sister.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that who?
I bet that Corona's wreaking hell.
You better watch
Cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Is that the one that Rebecca was courting or was being courted by?
Yes, she was engaged when she followed her heart out to California.
I mean, to the boy who taught her the board.
That one.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about being friends with people that have dated your sister is that's a cycle that will never cease.
I'll give you. I'll just have a constant pool to fish from.
There's always somebody new.
Yeah.
Always. I don't know if you know this or not, but the sister that dated O'Donnell is currently dating Donald's older brother.
I didn't even know Donald had a brother.
His name is Josh, I believe. He lives in Louisiana. He's going to move back to Missouri strictly to be in a relationship with Jennifer.
What's his last name?
Goodness, man.
I don't think it's Lauderdale. I think it's something else. I don't know.
So you dated both of Jason's sisters?
He did.
Yeah, well, we don't really need to talk about it, do we?
I mean, we're talking about it. We're talking about all the people that dated Jason's sisters.
I mean,
listen, you're one of them.
Listen, fellas, I got to go home tomorrow. That's 300 miles away. We do not have time. This is more of a time restraint issue than it is anything else. I dated Jennifer in junior year of high school. We dated for, I don't know, 2-3 months. Nothing real spectacular. Didn't have any children with her. Thank God.
You sure?
Save that one for Rebecca. Which is arguably the worst of the two.
Did you date Ryan ever? My brother?
Not that I know of. No, I don't think so.
It could have happened in Hawaii that night. We don't know.
No, you're not wrong.
Somewhere.
Ryan's another failed entity. I can't stand. He doesn't know what a shower is. I don't think fresh water's touched that boy's body in 4 months. Other than rain.
Oh.
Whatever splashes up on him when he's making ramen noodles.
Jesus Christ.
I'm telling you, he's a mess. It's not, and I don't know. If you had to pick, I think I know which one you're going to go with. But if you had to pick one to hang out with or befriend or anything like that,
Of who?
between Ryan and Barbara. Barbara being Ryan's life partner. They're not married.
Okay.
Got 3 kids. Well,
It's hard to. He just likes to get intimate on the podcast.
how many kids do they have together, Jason?
I don't know, but
Nobody
I will
does.
say, that
Told you this is going to be a mistake.
I don't know. I don't know her well enough. I don't know anything.
Well,
about her.
based on what you do know. I mean, she
I
came
only
down
know
and stayed.
hygiene habits
She
between
came
the two of
down
them.
and stayed with you for some time.
She smelled fresher than my brother.
Fresher. That's a relative term.
Yeah, I did not notice any offense in that area.
But you did with Ryan.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know.
He doesn't listen to this, does he?
There'd be no way of knowing. I don't think so.
No one listens to it, so
Yeah.
I'm sure he does.
Ryan? You think Ryan's among
Ryan's
the
not.
23 people that tune in every week?
I'm sure he's not.
No. He wouldn't be in
Who
hell.
is listening to this? I've thought about
It's-
that.
it's weird.
They're
Listen,
at
do y'all
least
have
like,
a text line or anything we can put? I mean,
what do you mean?
who do you know that does listen to this?
Like,
Honestly.
I don't even know
Your
25
parents listen,
people.
right?
So.
yeah. Your parents listen. I'm pretty sure.
I can relate to that statement. I mean,
Are your parents 2 of them?
No, it's pretty much just my dad, I think.
Okay. I don't know anybody that's listening to it.
I think some of the people that come up to the store where I work
I
listen
think
to
St.
it.
Clair listens to
think
it. I
St.
know
Clair
he
listens
does
to
because
it.
he always
Yeah.
will text us or whatever.
I don't know, man.
So it's weird. There's like 10 people out there listening that have never met us.
I mean, that's good. You know, I mean, that's, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I would say like typically we get more views than we have subscribers.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I think last week, I think Caleb watches them 3 or 4 times.
Does he really?
No, I don't. Probably not.
I bet like Austin and Ethan listen.
Probably, yeah,
I mean,
Daniel's cousins.
yeah.
listen, people like your brother don't have the intellectual capacity to keep up. I mean, none of this has been very...
No, it hadn't been deep. It hadn't been the deepest podcast.
No, but it's been great.
We've talked about natural law in here.
Have you?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys talk about whatever you want. I'm just
Well,
here.
we're enjoying it, man.
I don't know how long these things last.
It's
so
been nice.
I'm really here for the
to,
long haul.
It's been nice to just kind of have a guest that can tell their stories. They've heard our bullshit
Yeah.
stories.
We all just say the same thing.
Yeah.
Anarchy.
Yeah. Anarchy. It's the only way.
I hate the government.
Yep. Over and
Plenty of
over.
those out there.
Over and over.
There is a lot of those. But I mean, that's all right. It doesn't.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
I hope that one caught.
That's your favorite sound, isn't it?
It truly is. Oh, that's a home pour if I've ever seen one.
Have you? Is that all you besides the one Daniel made?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been
No, yeah, it's been since
nursing
like 2.
that since 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Since when?
2.
Yeah.
I don't know when you started. I was here at 3:30.
I think I made my first one right before you came.
Okay,
But I mean, yeah,
you're going slow. Though. Like
I
you're,
definitely
you're like
have
a responsible drinker. Like you,
I've
you
watched-
have been today.
I've
from what
watched that
seen.
man use his head to climb stairs before.
You know, you do what you got to do.
While he was yelling, "I'm gonna get it!
I'm gonna get it.
I'm gonna get up there!" His bed was at the top of the
He's
stairs,
determined.
and he was using his head.
Did I
need
get
help.
it?
You got it, man.
Amen. I don't want to hear it. I didn't make it very much past that top step.
Luckily, your bed was right at the top of it.
Yeah, but that didn't
Actually,
come till
you
way
didn't-
later. No.
You did just kind of pass out.
Yeah, there was a lot of physical exertion getting up to the top of them steps. You ever use your neck to climb steps before? I'll tell you what, it'll take it right out of you.
I'm sure.
I passed out on the floor. John was upset. And
He wasn't upset.
yeah, he was nervous. Don't you throw up on the carpet. Shut up, sissy.
Like you can't afford to fucking get new carpet.
Amen to that.
You piece of shit. Wow. I love John.
We've
I
dialed
love
into a whole new...
Dale never says stuff like that. He's just feeding off you.
I am.
And I love it.
I never go after John. He's a good man.
We should.
I mean, I agree.
I know he's going to be listening to this. I know it.
He won't listen to it.
Bet.
It's ridiculous.
Bet. One of them will. Him or Elizabeth.
She might have said that, but Tim, if you can believe it, with 25 listeners, it's not easy to find this. So, like, I think she said that, thinking, I'm going to listen to it, but then
you really got to be in the annals of YouTube to find this bad boy, don't you?
But then I think,
My dad has asked me at least half a dozen times, how do I find your podcast again? And he keeps listening to it. Like he's listened to it before, he can't find it after he listens to it the first time.
You
You
think it would become easier?
you think?
You'd be wrong. No, I don't know. It's just,
How long have we been going?
man,
it's been a long time.
it's been like an hour and 20 minutes, probably. Let me check.
Yeah. Our 25 listeners can't handle much more than an hour, I think.
No, they dropped out a long time ago,
Yeah,
boys.
I'm sure.
Yeah, our rate of finishing this thing
Is not good.
brutal.
It's not good.
We're an hour and 23 minutes.
All right.
It's good.
Do I hit stop?
Oh, you want to end?
I don't know. Do you?
We can end if you guys want. No, I don't. Tim, thanks for coming, man. Thanks for being on.
Yeah,
It's been great.
It's been really a fun time. I've been excited about being on it for a while.
Yeah.
I can see that Jason's a supporter too.
Come back and do it again.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
for
great.
sure.
We'll get into some more of your stories.
Man, no.
Yes, we have
I mean,
to. We have
We
to.
can get on the marriage next.
We'll get on the marriage stories
and next time you want to do marriage,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I have time to prep, we can really make this something.
I mean, we can drink for a couple hours and then get it
And
back
then,
on it.
yeah, we could do 2 tonight. We may see you later tonight.
Boys, I must be real special to y'all.
All right, guys. Later.